Hello and welcome to another episode of Adam's Music Box, where today I want to talk about the works of Ginger Baker that don't frankly get enough attention. We've talked about him before on this channel. We've talked about how he incorporated the African drumming influences that were cymbal free from his mentor, Phil Seaman, a great English jazz drummer. And this was very unique because, of course, cymbals are a Turkish and West Asian derived instrument, and there were many variations on the cymbal, aka metallic percussion from other parts of Asia, the gamelan of Indonesia, the tam-tams of Northeast Asia, like China and Japan. But the membranophones, drums using some sort of stretched skin, those are African in their origin. And Ginger, while he did obviously use cymbals, much of what he did was riding on the tom-toms, keeping the basic tempo on the tom-toms rather than the cymbal. And he brought this into every band he was in. And we all know what he did with Cream. We all know what he did with Blind Faith. We even know about the the huge Baker Gurvitz army. But I want to talk specifically about a band that was formed in 1974, and it only lasted for 3 years, but it's some of the best stuff Ginger did because it combined his drumming while it was still very much at its peak with wonderful songwriting from the Gurvitz brothers, Adrian and Paul Gurvitz, great songwriters from the London area. It featured the great jazz keyboardist Pete Lima and Stephen Parsons, who took care of the vocals, along with the Gurvitz brothers, who did some pretty interesting harmonizing. Now, luckily, there's quite a lot of video of this band because they did an episode of Musik Ladin, the follow-up show, the successor show to the famous West German TV show Beat Club from Radio Bremen, and they play a full set of music live, and you can really see just how tight the band are. They are it's sort of difficult to describe them. It's music with a song sense of songwriting, with some clear jazz influences, with soulful rock influences, and it can rock very hard with Ginger back there doing his thing. And on the one hand, it was very free and borderline chaotic. Ginger always brought that. And on the other hand, like I said, it was very tight because the band listened to each other very much. And all three of the studio albums that they came out with were really great, from Baker Gurvitz Army, self-titled in 74, Elysian Encounters, possibly my favorite of all of them in 75, and then they ended in 76 with Hearts on Fire. Definitely check that out. You should also check out a project of Ginger Baker's from around the same time, the 70s, called Stratovarius. This was just before the Baker Gurvitz Army, and this was from 1972. And this was very much influenced by the music that he was recording and performing in Nigeria with the great Fela Kuti, possibly the most famous of all of the modern Nigerian jazz fusion musicians. And this Stratovarius album is it again, it reflects the music about which Ginger was most passionate. And this was jazz with a distinctly folkish African flair. And that was really where he was at his happiest. When you look at all of the people that he disliked and all of the bands that he participated in, the sessions that he did for the money, as he would tell you himself, the stuff that he loved the most was largely improvised jazz music with an African texture. And well, the Baker Gurvitz army were decidedly not sort of African in their musical style. They did have that jazz rock feel that Ginger liked about Cream. Ginger was insistent that Cream wasn't a rock band, but some sort of a jazz fusion band. So check out Stratovarius and check out the Baker Gurvitz Army and check out some of the other bootlegs that have been released with the stuff that he did in Nigeria, because that is some really, really interesting stuff. He was obviously not the easiest person to work with, as was made clear in the documentary done several years before he died, Beware of Mr. Baker. But between Beware of Mr. Baker on the one end and his early stuff with Cream, Graham Bond, and Alexis Corner on the other, there was a lot of interesting stuff that didn't get the publicity it deserved. And if there was one project that he was involved in that really deserved that extra publicity, it was without a doubt the Baker Gurvitz Army. So check that out. Check out Stratovarius. You'll see a side of Ginger Baker that frankly has been suppressed for too long. I think you'll enjoy it too. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Take care.